I don't want you being age 45, finally realizing how the world really works. By then it's too late. I need you to learn these 7 life lessons that men learn too late in life in your youth. These are basically cheat codes to play the game of life. Watch how easily you'll beat competition and reach success. 1. Pornhub makes you less masculine. Men have always been hypersexual, but with the rise of Pornhub, TikTok, Instagram, OnlyFans, there is now an endless cesspit of sexual content for you to access, and that's what men do. To satisfy their sexual needs, men rush to these platforms to seek sexual pleasure, avoid boredom, and relieve stress. This leads to a lack of control over your sexual desires as an entire generation. For example, in a survey of 1,000 men, 50% of them expressed interest in deviant sexual desires like furtourism. This is the desire to rub your private parts on another person without permission. This is what hypersexualization does to men. They lose control of their mind, and that makes them less masculine. For example, Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor at the peak of his power, had access to all the money and women in the world. He stated in his book Meditations that sexual promiscuity was a feminine trait to have. His reasoning is that yes, sex feels good, but you should not indulge. Virtue and self-control come first. Someone who is promiscuous lacks self-control and therefore was feminine in his eyes. Men don't see the severity of porn and the lack of control until they have aged and experienced life. That's too late. Imagine being young and being this in control of your mind and of your body. I'm just getting started. Tips 2 to 5 are lessons your father should have taught you. Number 2, your testosterone is your source of strength. It will give you motivation, confidence, physical strength, muscle growth, and increased bone density. However, for men, testosterone levels have been dropping on average 1% per year for the last few decades. This partly explains why men don't feel as strong both mentally and physically. There are 2 big reasons why this is happening. The first one is being overweight, because no other time in history were people eating this much and being this sedentary. It's to the point that the Center for Disease Control states that 73% of the population is either overweight or obese. The problem is that fatty tissue contains estrogen precursors that then convert into estrogen and reduce your testosterone levels. So how do you fix this? I want you to live like the men in the 1960s lived. Average calorie consumption in the 1960s was 2,700 calories a day. Today, we're consuming 3,800 calories on average. You lowering your daily caloric intake to 2,700, you will immediately start losing weight. In the 1960s, President Eisenhower made it a law that every male high school student had to complete a physical fitness exam that consisted of pull-ups, sit-ups, shuttle run, 50-yard dash, broad jump, and ball throw for distance. You don't have to do those exact workouts. The idea is that you should be physically fit enough to complete any of the ones I just named on that list. 3. Ignoring mental health makes you weak. The health of your mind is a problem most men try to ignore, but it's a serious issue. Suicide rates are higher than post-World War II and the Great Depression, at a rate of 14.4 for every 100,000 people. We should not be in an increase with mental health issues, especially with so many resources for you to talk to somebody, like online therapy services from our sponsor BetterHelp. But even with resources like this, there's still a massive 37% increase in suicides from the lows that we experienced in the early 2000s. And even if you deal with or don't deal with mental health, anxiety, or depression, just being a human being, living through life can be difficult. Therapy can give you a new perspective to approach your problems from a different angle. According to the president of the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, he states, "I do think that a period of increased stress and a lack of sense of security is a contributing factor. As a man, you cannot ignore these problems until the point you feel like you can't control them. Evading your emotions or avoiding mental health is a weakness. You have to understand your emotions to become stronger." This is why I love talking about BetterHelp, because their mission is to make therapy affordable and accessible. They make it easy because you can find a therapist online. By just answering a few questions, they can match you with a therapist in a few days. If you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link below. Clicking the link supports my channel and also gets you 10% off your first month. 4. Being physically strong makes you mentally strong. Being physically strong can help with your mental health, as it can increase your self-esteem. This drives your mental strength. The problem is that our generation is the weakest generation in history. For example, this study showed that grip strength for millennials have dropped 22% from their parents. This is bad news for everyone, not just you, because men no longer see themselves as a strong masculine figure. When men were surveyed to rate themselves from completely masculine to completely feminine, only 2% of men between the ages of 18 to 24 rated themselves as completely masculine. So how do we fix this problem? I want you to go to the gym and do strength training. This means you're gonna go in and do workouts where you're lifting weights and progressively adding more weights every time you go back to the gym. As weeks go by, you will see your body grow muscle. This will increase your confidence and power, which will strengthen your mind. 5. Over-reliance on external validation. Needing somebody to tell you you're great is external validation. Knowing that you're great is high self-perception. The problem is that people have an increased need to see what others say about them to increase their own self-perception, instead of being able to increase it at will, which I'm going to show you how to do. First, you need to understand that social media use is making you depressed. Just 1 hour usage of social media can decrease your self-esteem score by 6 points. But it all depends on how you use social media. Self-oriented social media use, which is people who constantly post updates, position themselves to receive positive feedback, thus increasing their self-esteem. Whereas those who use social media apps as other-oriented, they don't post, they only consume, are then exposed to these idealized, perfect people and they receive no positive feedback, which in results lowers confidence through comparison. This is your fix. You want to create more and post, and then you want to consume less to compare less. 6. Playing video games lowers your testosterone. Gaming is linked to obesity due to its sedentary nature and overeating habits. It's so bad that it has been categorized as a mental disorder under the International Classification of Diseases. Internet gaming disorder is linked to preoccupation, withdrawal, and loss of interest in other activities. When you're gaming, your brain is releasing unnatural levels of dopamine because of overstimulation. When you do it for a prolonged period of time, your brain becomes accustomed to that level of pleasure. A lack of motivation to participate in any other activity is a natural outcome. It doesn't stop there. Gaming is also linked to sleep issues, depression, and anxiety. One study finding that just 2 hours of gaming daily is more than enough to significantly increase symptoms of depression. Do you want to know what lowers testosterone? Overeating, being sedentary, sleep issues, depression, and anxiety. Moderation is key. Most of the harmful nature that gaming brings onto your life can be significantly reduced by just reducing the amount of hours you spend on it daily. Then, replace those hours with healthy activities like socializing with real people or exercising. Number 7. Being antisocial ruins your chances of success. Someone saying, "I'm an introvert," is not an excuse. This sets you up for failure. Most people use this as an excuse. Social anxiety is a real fear that most people don't want to face. When you avoid socializing, you're only hurting yourself. You enjoy the short-term comfort of not having to face that fear, without realizing that you not socializing is making you less charismatic. It lowers your chances of ever finding a partner, and it even lowers your opportunities to make money. Extroverted people will earn $500,000 more in their lifetimes over introverted people. This is because extroverted people are less agreeable, more likable, and network more. And I understand, I was the same way. I had to force myself out of my shell to become successful. But once you do it, that social intelligence, it's a superpower. So how do you break your shell today? Easy. I want you to send out a mass message to everybody in your phone book or everyone you follow on Instagram. You're gonna have a fear of people saying no, rejecting your offer, or just ignoring you. You gotta move past that. Then, I want you to set up meetups with as many family members, friends, co-workers you can connect with. Do this regularly and watch your charisma skyrocket. These 7 cheat codes I just showed you will give you an unfair advantage at life. And I'm not even done. Here are 2 more videos that you can use to continue to level up. See you boys next time.